What if I told you there's a hedge fund out there that makes so much money it's practically a money printing machine? Well, folks, let me introduce you to the Medallion Fund, also known as the most mysterious and insanely successful hedge fund of all time. In this video, we're going to break down what the Medallion Fund is, how it works, as much as we can guess anyway, and why it's so secretive. Oh, and you won't believe the kind of returns this thing pulls in. Let's dive in. First things first, what is the Medallion Fund? It's a hedge fund run by a company called Renaissance Technologies, which was founded by this guy, Jim Simons. Now, Jim isn't your typical Wall Street dude. He's not even a finance guy. He's a mathematician. And not just any mathematician, a world-class genius mathematician. Jim Simons and his team of super smart scientists use algorithms, data, and some seriously complicated math to run the Medallion Fund. It's what's called a quantitative fund, which means they rely on computers and models to make trades, not human gut feelings or stock tips. Okay, now here's where things get absolutely mind-blowing. The Medallion Fund has averaged about 66% returns per year since 1988. Yes, you heard that right, 66%. To give you some perspective, the average hedge fund barely scrapes 7 to 10% on a good year. But wait, it gets even crazier. After Renaissance takes their cut, around 5% in management fees and 44% in performance fees, the net return is still around 39%. Let that sink in. 39% returns after fees. That's just unheard of in the world of investing. To put that in perspective, if you invested $1,000 in the Medallion Fund in the late 1980s, by now you'd have approximately $140.8 million. But here's the catch, you probably couldn't invest in it, and I'll explain why. The Medallion Fund is the most secretive hedge fund in the world. It's like the financial version of Area 51. Nobody really knows what's going on inside. What we do know is that they use incredibly complex mathematical models and tons of data to find small price patterns in the markets, tiny inefficiencies that they can exploit to make trades. Think of it like this. They're not swinging for the fences, but hitting tiny, consistent singles day after day, year after year. The crazy part is that their strategy works so well, no one else has been able to replicate it. Other hedge funds try to use quant strategies too, but no one has come close to Medallion's success. It's like trying to copy Coca-Cola's secret formula, it's just not happening. Here's where things get even more mysterious. The Medallion Fund has been closed to outside investors since 1993. That's right. Unless you work for Renaissance Technologies, you can't invest in the fund. It's strictly for the firm's employees. And those lucky employees who get to invest, yeah, they've made billions. In fact, Jim Simons himself has an estimated net worth of over $25 billion, and many of his colleagues have become incredibly rich too. So if you want to invest in the Medallion Fund, you basically have to get hired at Renaissance. Easier said than done. So how does the Medallion Fund stack up against your typical hedge fund or mutual fund? Well, most hedge funds use strategies like stock picking, betting on macroeconomic trends, or even taking big risks. But Medallion doesn't do that. They leave the human decision-making out of it. Medallion uses algorithms to make thousands of tiny trades based on patterns they find in the data. Their approach is all about statistics and probabilities, not big, bold bets. Think of it like a casino. The house doesn't need to win every hand, but over time, the odds are in their favor. That's Medallion's secret. They're the house. Meanwhile, your average hedge fund manager is out there trying to beat the market with intuition and hunches. It's a bit like trying to beat a chess grandmaster after reading One How to Play Chess's book. Good luck with that. So why should you care about the Medallion Fund if you can't even invest in it? Well, beyond the sheer curiosity factor, it's a great example of how data and technology are reshaping the finance world. Quant funds like Medallion have proven that math and algorithms can beat human intuition when it comes to investing. It's also a wake-up call to traditional investors. If you want to compete in the market, you've got to adapt to new technologies. For most of us, that might mean relying more on passive investing strategies, since beating the pros like Medallion is nearly impossible. So there you have it, the Medallion Fund, the most secretive, exclusive, and downright mind-blowing hedge fund out there. With returns that would make any Wall Street pro jealous, it's no wonder this fund is the stuff of legend. Unfortunately for us mere mortals, it's pretty much off limits. But hey, maybe one day we'll crack the code, or at least figure out how they do it. Until then, we can just marvel at their success and learn a thing or two about the power of data and patience.